choice for Wesley would be to attack one of white's F pawns while losing the C pawn. You don't actually want that scenario here as black. That's very dangerous for white to be up to protect the passed C pawn. So he goes E5. And it looks like he's going to collect the C pawn here. That is...
This is going to be a draw. This is going to be a draw.
It's a dream scenario for black because what you can do in these situations is you just sort of brain dead push your C pawn. And when white goes after it with their rook, then you trade the C pawn for the A pawn, reduce the material to one side of the board where your king is there to defend. A passed pawn for white on the queen side is the greatest danger for black.
It is, and I love the way how here Hikaru plays, gets more and more space advantage on the king side because it can get dangerous for black indeed. Maybe king g7 now or king g8.
Yeah,
king g7,
we're not going to
king
sack.
f6 is fine.
Not going to sack this pawn pointlessly, so let's come in here.
No, I think it's just fine here. Black has nothing to work. King f6. If he needs king g5 is also possibility there. So rook a6 was played to cut this king. White wants to play f6 now and kick this king back.
Karu's coming up with something. But Wesley still has 50 seconds on his clock. If he had 5 or 10 seconds on his clock, this trick might mess with his mind. But I think with 50 seconds, I'm feeling pretty confident in Wesley's technique here. You can just go king g8 or even c2 here. C2 is a good move here as well, right? No, then rook check and rook back to c7.
I think he has to take care of the f7.
I think king g8 is probably right. And if rook e8 to f8, then you can play rook a7. Yeah.
Yeah, king g8 is on the board.
White can force the king away from this pawn with this technique, rook c8, rook f8. But here there's rook a7. And white would just say, oops, why did I play rook f8? So the game's about to end, folks. Any moment now it's going to pop up, draw agreed with some kind of a repetition here because rook c3, rook a6 wouldn't leave white anything to play for either.
Yeah, if you take c3 pawn, then rook a6 is the black's move, and black will take f6 pawn and nothing to be worried. I saw handshake has happened, so they ended this game in a draw. And David, this is exactly what we want to see because we are just not very close, one step closer to the Armageddon that I'm dying to see today.
Okay, one step closer. Keddy rooting for 5 draws today. Not your normal style.